I'm listening to a podcast on happiness where the host is interviewing an expert on Stoicism. This is the first time I've really heard about Stoicism. Other than this, or before this, I've only heard it referred to somebody who's being stoic. That is somebody who's completely emotionless. Somebody who's going through life not enjoying anything, actually no emotion to anything. But what I'm learning is that Stoicism is not really just a motionless cow in the rain. What I'm learning is that Stoicism with a capital S is a philosophy of life, and it's kind of making a comeback. Stoicism has its roots in pursuing contentment and calmness. One thing that I noticed is that this is quite different from the pursuit of, say, happiness, the pursuit of being happy all the time, or the pursuit of material wealth. On the road to tranquility are several strategies that we can employ, different Stoic strategies that we can employ that help remove negative emotion, dampen the effects of bad things that are happening to us, often through reframing. Find out what Stoicism can teach us about how we handle our money right after this. Hey, it's Derek Hagan. I'm a certified financial therapist professional here with another money health presentation. We're going to talk about money and Stoicism. So Stoicism, effectively, on the path towards contentment, on the path towards tranquility and calm, we realize that we're able to employ some Stoic strategies that are used to basically help us realize that we really have a choice on how we interpret matters. We can interpret things as something that's completely awful. Why does this always happen to me? The world is out to get me. Or we can say, for example, this is an opportunity to grow. I get some practice with patience. That choice is yours, and that applies to our financial lives. Because so many times there's going to be an unexpected event, unexpected expense, something will happen at work, and a lot of that stuff is outside of our control. So how we choose to reframe that to ourselves makes a big difference in our quality of life. Now, the Stoics, one of the main teachings is some things are in your control and some things aren't. They call this a dichotomy of control, and they encourage you to get really clear about those things that are in your control and those things that are outside of your control. And we should not spend any of our time or emotion or energy on things that are outside of our control. You'll notice this says "are" of your control. It's supposed to say "out," so bear with me there. But focusing on things that are in your control, that's where the root of Stoicism lies. Basically, if you can strip everything away, or take away from you, is how you interpret these events. So it's very important to be very clear about what's in your control and what's out of your control. And stop chasing things, stop hanging your happiness on things that are outside of your control. For example, you would not apply for a job and say that I'm only going to be happy if I get this promotion. Because you can't control what other applicants are in the candidate pool. You can't control the timing of the day when the interview happens. Maybe you have some control over that, but you can't control the mood of the interviewer. And when you recognize that, you can cultivate more positive emotions. And contrary to popular belief, Stoicism is not about being emotionless. It's about eliminating negative emotions and cultivating positive emotions. Stoics are not walking around becoming victims of all kinds of crimes, just letting stuff happen to them. They're actually quite optimistic. They love their lives, and they're joyful, and they're awe-inspired, and they're quite happy. They don't let negative emotions manifest. And they do this through a lot of different gratitude techniques. One idea is that things can always be worse. No matter what bad thing happened to you, it could have always been worse. One story that I like to use is I was on a run early morning before the sun came up, and I tripped on a railroad spike. Totally injured my arm. Blood everywhere, cuts, bruises. It was bad. But I could have broken my arm, and I didn't break my arm. And if I had broken my arm, which was very, very possible, how much would I have paid to get back to this position where I'm just laying here with some cuts and bruises on my arm. Right? It can always be worse. What if I would have broken my arm? Well, one thing I noticed was as I was falling, there are other railroad spikes sticking up. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility that I could have fallen with my eyeball into one of those spikes, which could have killed me. At the very least, I would have lost an eye, half my vision. Now, if that happened, how much would I have paid to get back to that position where I just have a broken arm? A broken arm that will heal. It can always be worse, and we can be grateful that it could have been worse, and it wasn't. And you'll notice, as you go up the gratitude ladder, you take your life for granted a lot less. And there's different techniques for this. One of the more common Stoic techniques is negative visualization. This is basically when you take things that you value and you imagine what your life would be if you didn't have those. Your relationships, your things. What would life look like? And just briefly imagine what life would be like. And then now you get to snap back in reality and say, okay, good, I can still be grateful for that. And this helps appreciate what you have more. Incidentally, it also takes away the probability of grief if you were to actually lose that thing or that person that you value. Because you've already been so appreciative of your time that you have. Everything that we have is temporary. And Stoicism makes that front and center. Everything you have is temporary, so enjoy it while it's here. If at the very least your life is temporary. Right? Everything you own is temporary. All of your relationships are temporary. So enjoy them right now. Another technique is called the last time meditation, where as you're performing different experiences or involved in some various experiences, you reflect on the fact that this could be the last time you do this. Or this dovetails nicely into kind of doing some math and thinking, I only do this once a year and I have 20 years left of life, so I only get to do this 20 more times, for example. There will be a last time you do everything. And certainly you've done things for the last time before. So taking your life for granted is when you get used to things, that proverbial hedonic treadmill that people are on. So, guy, I'm so bored. What do I need more? I got all this stuff, but so does my neighbor, and I need to be better than my neighbor. Whereas practicing these gratitude techniques lets you say, wow, I'm really fortunate. I can still keep moving forward, but I can also feel blessed at the same time. And if you know anything about therapy, you'll notice there's an idea called cognitive behavioral therapy, which is rooted in Stoicism. So Stoicism kind of feeds into cognitive behavioral therapy and cognitive behavioral financial therapy. And that basically means there's an outside event, and then we have these automatic thoughts. So often these are catastrophic, and then we have a reaction to that. With both Stoicism and cognitive behavioral therapy, the idea is to change these automatic thoughts. We get to choose our interpretations. We can choose more productive interpretations. So Stoicism can be applied to money by helping us reinterpret these negative financial things that happen to us. It can help us get really clear that we should not pay attention to things that are outside of our control. Or if we pay attention to them, we don't dwell on them. We don't worry about them. What's the market going to do? It doesn't matter. We can't control what the market's going to do. Our company got sold. Well, we couldn't control the fact that our company got sold. What we can control is our marketability. We can control how much we put into the market. We can control how much we save. And we can control our interpretations of what happens. Financial problems will happen. And those problems definitely need to have some solutions. But you don't have to feel bad while you're solving them. You only have one life. Live intentionally.